On today's episode, things I'm working on. And I think you're going to be able to relate. If not, possible reminders. Your house didn't have to burn down and you didn't have to move to a new country to be working on these things. Also, if you're watching this, I am soaked and I'm thinking about, I'm always wet. So I'm going to call myself always wet instead of therapy therapist. What do you think? All right, never mind. No more dad jokes. Number one, things that I am working on. Surfing, not as a sport, but as a meditation, a surrender, a dance and movement, not chasing waves, but instead letting them teach me how to breathe. So let me tell you real quickly my relationship with surfing. Grew up in Los Angeles, LA is all I know. And when you live in California and you don't know how to surf, you feel fraudulent, right? I skated, rode motorcycles, snowboarded, did a lot of things, and did them okay, except the snowboarding piece. I admit. Um, so surfing, right up my alley, and I grew up with a lot of surfers. But the thing is, a lot of people come to California because they want to be by the ocean, and they say, "Oh, once I live here, I will every weekend I'll be at the beach." Then you come here, and by here I mean California, and you hit traffic, you realize that parking's a thing and the water's cold. And so the beach, when you felt it that perfect summer when you were on vacation in Cali, is not the same. And so your dreams of surfing slowly fade. Or if you do surf, you get it in, I don't know, once every few months. Unless you're hardcore and you're willing to get up at 5 a.m., put on a wetsuit, and really, follow the waves and surf and learn how to surf. Um, I was not able to do that in the 47 plus years that I've lived in California. Wait, 47, 8, 9, 50. No, more than 47, 50, 49 years in California because I came to America when I was 3. So like 48 years in California. Never learned how to surf, and I have always wanted to. So here now in Costa Rica, I am desperately trying to learn how to surf. And here's the thing, there's a part of me that is scared because I don't want to fail at it. And I think the mindset of turning it into a practice where it is my, 3 times a day, not, no. I mean, you can actually go 3 times a day here because we live so close to the beach and the water is like bath water, but maybe 3, 4 times a week. It's my meditation, it's my practice, right? And it's more about getting in the water as like getting in the reps and just having smart feet. Less about the actual performance, right? Less about how I surf or where I should be, more about putting in the reps and using surfing slash the ocean as a therapeutic tool, as a way to calm my nervous system. Although surfing is exhausting and produces a lot of adrenaline, just in general, that hour or two using the water to feel calm and learning a new sport and a new craft, a new art, um, without putting the pressure to be good at it, and that's really hard for me. So that is something I'm working on. Practicing detachment, and you may be able to relate to this, from all things that tighten my shoulders and pull me back into survival mode. Hustle, noise, the invisible itch always to be somewhere or to be someone, right? Learning to unclench. I think this is why I'm regular, and I'm not joking. In Los Angeles, I've always been irregular when it comes to bowel movements, and a little TMI, but just shitting kidney stones and not shitting daily. And, something always wrong with my gut and constantly bloated. And I know that that is a huge reason why I have insomnia, can't sleep. It's all related, right? Gut health. I've only been here for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and I'm super regular every morning. After my coffee, I am in the bathroom lighting matches, and it feels amazing because my bowels are like normal adult bowels, or they're getting there. They're not kidney stones. They're not BBs. They're not little. Um, I don't have a bowel movement and look back before flushing, and it looks like chickens just like shat in the toilet. If that makes sense, and that makes me feel good. It's also like proof. It's stamp of approval that maybe I'm in the right place to fix my gut. So yeah, um, detachment from all things that tighten my shoulders. Uh, I was thinking about when it comes to detachment, detaching from drama, right? Detaching from uh, things that you want so bad that you're just waiting by the phone and not allowing yourself to enjoy life. Detaching from people's validation, approval, someone liking you, right? Detaching from wanting to fit in. Anything that gets you to walk with tight shoulders, or wherever you carry your stress, maybe your stomach gets knotted. The survival state is one of the lower frequencies, so a lot of us are in that state whether we know it or not, because many of us feel like, oh, I'm not in survival state, I'm not getting punched in my face, I'm not, in a war, or I have not had sexual assaults, or like, people assume that survival mode and a trauma and things that get us to maneuver at a lower frequency are like these extreme things, and they're not. It's actually the smaller things, the seeking validation, the waiting by the phone, the tying worth to achievement and projects. Like, it's the little things that are kind of day to day that get us to, over time, be grayed out and have a dysregulated nervous system. It's not the one big event, because when there is something like one big event, it's clear that that was traumatic, or if that relationship is unhealthy, and it's easier for us to see that and execute, right, to create a escape plan or do something. When it's kind of the low grade, under the radar, over time, we don't notice the little things that we're doing, right? The next thing I'm working on is sitting with the ghosts of city life, the dopamine drip of plans, people, purpose, the buzz of always missing something. One of the reasons why I've never really been anywhere and why my passport has very few stamps is because I thought that if I traveled, then I would be missing out, right? I thought that I needed to be in LA to grind, to build, and I'm not going anywhere until I get quote unquote successful. Once I'm successful, then I will allow myself to travel. And travel was always then something extra, something I got to once I was, once I reached goals. And of course, you never get there because your goals are a moving target, and what you define as success is like that bar always moves and it gets higher. So I've never been anywhere, and now at 52, um, we're living in Costa Rica, in a different country, and for me, it's this is like new. A lot of people, they went to semester at sea in college, they traveled, they went abroad, they like did so many things in their 20s, in their 30s, and through that, so much wisdom, right? I never left Los Angeles. It's kind of embarrassing to say. Furthest I've gone before my divorce was like Tijuana with frat boys. Um, I have this joke where people ask where you've been, and I'm like, Reseda, Orange County. Anyway, I let the FOMO come, and then I let it go like a wave that rises, crests, and disappears. And I don't have a lot of FOMO. Of course, there are a lot of things about the city I miss, like amazing restaurants and the routine of going to a big gym, and classes and community and all that. But I'm building a version of that here, and I think when I do, I'm not really going to miss that much. All right, next one, fighting the reflex to produce. Like I said, I have only been in sport mode when it comes to building and achieving and grinding, to build, to scale, to prove that I still matter, letting stillness be enough, letting quiet win, rewiring the part of me that thinks rest is laziness and the value is something I have to earn. This is very difficult. I don't know where you are in your life. You don't have to pack up and move the country to have this as something that you want to work on, to fight the reflex to produce. One of the things that Vanessa and I want to do is we want to try to execute 4-day work weeks and have Friday off, right? And to actually not just to have a day where we're just not grinding. And so we're starting there, and then we're going to see what happens from there. But yeah, I mean, this is the downshift, right? This is one of the reasons why we came here, is so we don't have to fight the reflex to always produce, the knee jerk that I have just from being in the city. Next one, redefining enough. And enough doesn't come with the external, right? So no more followers, no more money, no more milestones, just mangoes, this breeze, the sweat on my face. The sunsets here, by the way, are epic. One of my favorite things here is at 6 p.m. everyone goes to the beach and watches the sunset like it's church. And yeah, the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen. But not just the sunset, but actual toes in the sand and engaging with people. Like yesterday, I brought a little Corona, put a lime in it. We all got on the golf cart and went to the beach, and it only lasts for like an hour, right? But that like 5:30 to 6:30 ritual of going to the beach and just kind of hanging out with everyone, it's magical. It is amazing here. It's something that we don't do in Los Angeles or big cities. I hear that in Portugal and other parts of the world, the sunset is something that everyone comes out to see, and applaud. This moment with my daughter on my lap, driving the golf cart around, feeling the same kind of freedom I felt in the 80s on a Honda Spree 50cc scooter. So we don't really drive. We just need the golf cart. Everything is, like 100 yards away. And so it's like the 80s here. No helmets, no, just flip flops. And I let my daughter take the steering wheel, and we're going like 7 miles an hour. But she loves it, and it reminds me of when I was like 12 with a bowl haircut, strawberry shortcake shirt, because my parents didn't know that was for girls, and ripping around this little Honda CC scooter they bought me. And that was the time I felt, one of the times I felt the most freedom, like I could fly, which is why I got into motorcycles at 35. It was me trying to connect to the spirit of that 12-year-old. Okay, next one, slowing down without feeling like I'm falling behind. Getting to a place where downshifting is just as powerful as sport mode. Because what if the race was never real? What if I've been lapping myself all these years? That's really kind of interesting and also kind of funny, is this idea that you're in this race and you're only racing yourself and you're just lapping yourself, meaning no one else is really participating. Um, I don't know. I feel like maybe that is a lot of how I was in the city, chasing and lapping me. And here I'm going to try to stop doing that. And finally, practicing joy without needing to earn it, letting happiness show up uninvited. And I think the way that you do that is to not look for it, but also you got to notice it when it appears, on a random Tuesday with no agenda, no need, not need a reason to feel good, just the courage to let it in. So I'm trying to think of the things I call it nectar. I've always called it nectar. I have a tattoo on my bicep of a hummingbird to remind myself to seek nectar, because when I used to be a miserable fuck, it is something that I did not give myself the permission to do. The nectar so far here, obviously, the one I was just talking about, the sunset, is probably the highest as far as nectar that's produced here. The fruit, speaking of nectar, fruit, mangoes, plantains, the fruit here is next level. The food, not a lot of fancy restaurants, but everything is like farm to table, grass fed. Like the quality is amazing, right? Like there's a bakery across the street where we buy our bread from. Gets bad in 2 days. So the pro is like the bread is it's so good. Like I could take my fist and put it into the bread and take a giant. I mean, this is what I feel like doing. I don't take a giant scoop of bread with my fist and just like eat the whole thing. That was a really weird visual, but the bread is amazing. But because it's amazing, and it doesn't have the processed, is it grains or it's not like bleached, um, it goes bad really fast. You know, more nectar would be obviously at the beach, water being 75 degrees pretty much all the time. People surf here all the way till the sun goes down constantly. The other piece of nectar, which is all new to me, and I thought I was going to miss my motorcycle, but I don't because I've replaced it with a golf cart. And just driving my little golf cart around instead of a car, oh, it's perfect. It's so easy, you know? That's nectar for me. And I would say I'm not there yet, but I can sense it coming. And I think the nectar for me is going to be, or another nectar is going to be the slowdown. And because it hasn't been that long, I'm still kind of in overdrive, and I'm waiting to downshift. I feel like if I downshift too soon, the gears will break. When you're in a car, in a manual car, and say you're going 100, you can't drop it into second gear. Like the transmission will drop, right? It's too extreme. You got to drop it to go from sixth to fifth, and then from fifth to fourth, and then fourth to third. And I think it's the same here, where it's like we've been here for a couple weeks and a couple weeks and change, and I'm ready to downshift. But I'm gonna go from sixth to fifth, from fifth to fourth. I'm not going from my city life to second gear. I'll ruin my car. um, but there's nectar there, and I just haven't experienced it fully. But I can sense it. I could sense that there are going to be moments in the downshift, whether it is just taking a nap in an afternoon, or going from a sweaty workout directly into the pool, and then the outside shower, and like things like that. They're going to come in moments where there's just going to be a lot of nectar. You know what it feels like here? It feels like I'm living life in color. And it's not because of like the shit that people post on Instagram, like the fancy stuff. It's not because of waterfalls and sloths and exotic jungles, and I mean all that's here too. But we live in a little quaint surf town, and we're not out exploring the jungle, so it's not those visuals. At least for me, it's just everything is bright. There's so much color here, literally, but also figuratively, in that when you slow down a little bit, because it does feel like we're in the 80s, um, you see things, you notice things like butterflies and moments and people smiling at you. Um, and I think in the city, whatever city you're in, when life is happening fast, it's really hard to seek nectar. It's really hard to notice things, and so life isn't in color. It's just kind of grainy, you know. So my eyes are getting bad, but things are very in focus here. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I will continue to document my second rebirth as we build a life here in Costa Rica. Be well.